How is it going, you lovely lot? Welcome back to Season 11 here with Wanderers FC. Today, we're going for back-to-back Premier League titles. We're going for 3 FA Cups in a row. And to kick things off this season, we've got the Community Shield. And of course, our opposition in this Community Shield game is going to be Tottenham, a Tottenham team that last year knocked us out the Champions League. I really want revenge. And of course, to achieve all our aims for this new season, we have a new man in our ranks. Jonathan Banks, the best player in the England national team, has signed for us. We threw a lot of money at him. Now I need him to come good. And of course, with his new arrival, it's meant that we've gone for a little bit of a tactical rethink. Hopefully the 4-2-3-1 is going to perform well on its debut. Let's run the intro and get straight into things. Yes, folks, I hope you guys are doing absolutely amazing. Before we get into the video today, a little heads up that about an hour after this video is live, I'm going to be streaming both on Twitch and YouTube Football Manager. A couple of days ago, we started a new Bottom at Christmas challenge in Serie A. If you want to check it out, on the YouTube channel page, there's like a little live tab. All the streams that we do will exist there for you to watch back. Udinese is the team that we're managing, and we'll be live shortly. So if you're watching this video the first day it's up, look forward to that. If you're watching this video in the distant future, maybe there's a new stream going on. You should go check it out over on the channel regardless. Now, you might remember at the end of last episode, I was still trying to cobble together some money to get under the wage budget and make sure we weren't overspending. I have made a sale. Arian B has left the building. I felt like we had a few too many centre-backs, especially with me contemplating the tactical switch. This 31-year-old, a loyal servant to the club. It kind of marks a bit of an end of an era. Of course, he joined us as one of our star players as a newly promoted Premier League team for 9.25 million. I feel like we got our money's worth out of him, and despite the fact he never exactly put in crazy average ratings, he was a useful squad player for us, but his time has come and gone. We've moved him on for a little bit of profit. And yeah, like I said, it kind of marks a weird end of era of sorts. Arian B's sale, however, is the only sale and transfer that's gone on since the end of the transfer special. Of course, we made a few big transfers. I felt like we've got all our business done. Our wage spend for the year has actually rocketed up this year by a significant portion. It'll be interesting to see how our overall balance kind of reacts as a result of that. Of course, we are playing in the big old London stadium that we're using this year while our actual stadium's under renovations. Kind of keen to see what the attendances are going to be like there. But yeah, over the last few years, we've never made like a massive loss during the year. I feel like for an ordinary Premier League team, you actually kind of steadily lose money through the year. And then every year where you get this big bump in TV money, that kind of then takes you back into the black. I suspect the days of us operating in profit are going to be gone. Yeah, take note of the overall balance. It's 41.5 million now. Might not be that in a few months' time. To kick things off today, we are going to do a little bit of a squad rundown. It's not going to be a super detailed one because we've not overhauled the team all that radically. I feel like over the last couple of years, it's just been about small marginal improvements. Speaking of which, in the goalkeeping area, Caleb Anson is still the man we are very much looking towards to be our main goalkeeper. This man has just been very, very solid for us. Consistently been a very good Premier League goalkeeper, I think it has to be said. 13 clean sheets last year, 13 the year before that, 15 the year before that. He was in the Media Dream 11, and he has been great. Of course, in terms of the other goalkeeping options, 2 homegrown at club players in Jeremy Lechevier, and the other goalkeeper we have is Shea Salmon, a player who at one point I wondered if he might develop into a player good enough to be our starting goalkeeper. The 22-year-old has spent a load of years out on loan. He's developed nicely. And now I feel like we're in a position where he can just be the backup. Now, of course, in terms of defenders, we'll be shifting at least to start the season to a 4 at the back system. We don't need quite as many centre-backs, and we obviously sold Arian B. We moved on James Wiles as well. Doesn't mean we've not improved the centre-back position. Of course, Jared Bramthwaite has come in to offer a little bit of experience. But in terms of our starting centre-backs for the year, with the 2 at the back system, it is all going to be about Alfie Dorrington and Ashley Phillips. 2 very, very good centre-backs. Maybe not necessarily the best when it comes to their technicals, but both fairly athletic players with some very, very solid mentals. Of course, they've been kind of our 2 best centre-backs for a number of years. And whilst I'm talking all about the 4 at the back system, there is a world where maybe we'll switch to the 3 at the back from time to time. Maybe if I'm looking to see out games, there might even be a slightly more defensive variant of this we look towards. But of course, when you look at the depth at centre-back, it's very good. And I think the other nice thing to note is kind of versatility is the name of the game. So many of the players that feature in our defence especially can play a whole host of positions. And not only does that apply really to the centre-backs, it also applies to the wing-backs as well. No major changes going on here. Of course, Ajaria and Lloyd Weston, I think, are going to be the regular starters this year. Interested to see how Lloyd Weston does as an inverted wing-back, as opposed to kind of the more typical wing-back or full-back role you might expect me to use. Of course, Gavin Wallace has been a regular starter for us. Gonna, I think, start Benito Lloyd Weston ahead of him for this year. Although, much like it's been the last couple of years, they're going to be battling out for the left-back role based on form. If we're finding that the inverted wing-back role just doesn't really work as intended, there's no reason why we can't just go back to a more traditional one. If there's one area of the team where I have a small concern, maybe defensive mid is that area. Corby Hatwell is going to miss, unfortunately, the opening game today. You can see he's out for 7 days with a virus. He may even miss our opening Premier League game as well, which would be a shame. But in terms of the defensive mids we have, of course, Flood is just the main man in the team. Joined us in League One. He is one of our own, loves important matches. Homegrown at club, has just been an ever-present part of our team. Has recently signed a new deal to make him one of the big earners. In terms of the depth options, of course, we've got Kobe Mainu, who I think is a very, very solid option. Joe McHugh, a slightly younger alternative. I think Mainu probably is the third best. And in terms of more defensive-minded defensive mids, we've got the likes of Tom McGarry we can call upon if needed. Of course, the area where there's the big change this year is going to be the attacking third. For the last few seasons, we've played with 3 strikers, at least to start things, like I've already kind of caveated. We aren't going to be going for a more attacking mid-orientated system with just the lone striker. I suppose the nice thing in this regard is a lot of our strikers can play in those wider areas. Of course, the big reason for this tactical shift, really, is trying to get the most out of Jonathan Banks. And I do feel like as a centre attacking mid, he can really be the orchestrator in the midfield. What it does mean is 2 players we're always nailed on to be in the starting 11 at striker are going to be playing in the wide attacking mid areas, at least to start the year. Andy White is going to be playing on the left-hand side as an inside forward. As an inside forward, he ticks all the boxes. Such a great little player. Barrett on the other side is going to be cutting in on his left foot. Of course, these were our 2 top goal scorers this year. Maybe moving them away from the striking area feels ill-advised. If Brennan or whoever plays up front doesn't perform, maybe we'll look to shuffle things around. I suppose the nice thing here is when we look at the likes of Brennan, Sheldon, they are all strikers that can play on the right-hand side of midfield. I am, in the case of Sheldon and a few others, looking to train them at left attacking mid as well. At the moment, of all the attacking positions, only Barrett and White can play at left attacking mid. That is just a little minor concern. Given the fact we're retraining a few players, including the new arrival in Ikenna, I'm hoping that rather quickly, someone will pick up this left mid area and it will be a little less of a concern. Anyway, that's a little bit of a comprehensive run-in of where the squad is at right now. I think we have a great team for this year. Tottenham, like I said, I feel like we've got a bee in our bonnet and I want a bit of revenge. I feel like this 4-2-3-1 might leave us a little open at the back. Maybe might have to change some of the defensive mid roles if I feel like we're a little exposed. But one of the big reasons for this change is we have so much attacking talent. With the system we were playing, we can only really get 3 strikers on the team, and to move any player into the kind of attacking midfield area, I feel like would compromise us further back. In dropping one of the centre-backs as well, I feel like it just allows us to get a bit more quality on the pitch. Hopefully it's going to work out for us. Of course, our opposition for today's opening game are going to be Tottenham. Their key player is Nati, a very, very good English striker we've got to be wary of. They finished runners-up in the Premier League last year. They are not a bad little team by any means. And so this should be a good little test. I'm not sure quite what to expect from the new system. I'm not going to kind of panic too much if it doesn't hit the ground running immediately. It is a little bit of a shift in tactical ideologies. In terms of the actual instructions we're using, it's not a radical change really. But at the same time, whenever you change tactical shape, I think you kind of go in with that acceptance. There might just be a kind of getting used to it period. Given the quality that we have, I'm hoping that's not going to be too much of a thing. I kind of look at the team we've got here. This is a really strong starting 11. This might be one of the best kind of starting 11s we've ever had at Wanderers. I'm really excited to see what Banks can do. New record transfer at centre attacking mid. The whole reason we've kind of blown up our formation and tried something new. I really hope he hits the ground running. Of course, we are at Wembley for this game. I'm going to shout some early words of encouragement to get some green, happy, smiley faces. It does feel weird not playing the 3 at the back, but I feel like times are changing. Centre-back was just an area where we were struggling for players, and while we have a new star man in our ranks, who I'm going to constantly click on so his name pops up above his head, and all the pressure and the spotlight is going to be on him. Anson plays it wide to Barrett. That is a lovely little ball into the box. Plays it back to Flood. Of course, operating as that regista, back to Barrett. Lovely build-up play into the middle. Hits the woodwork. Balls to Andy White. Bit of an unorthodox finish. The move itself was beautiful. The little give and go here by Barrett with Flood was just sensational. Flood sees the run, dinks it over. Barrett's cross or shot or whatever it was, hit the woodwork, fell straight to Andy White. He pokes it in. Okay, Barrett's now over a corner, whipping it in. Near post, Dorrington header skims the top of the net. Half an hour into this game, really promising opening. Despite the possession Tottenham are having, they're not really creating a great deal with it. Defensively, I do feel like we're going to forgo perhaps some of our defensive strength that we've shown over the last couple of years, just with slightly fewer players back. But I hope the trade-off there is just a more cohesive attacking unit. It's half-time already in this game. We've not looked like conceding, to be fair. Tottenham have not created a lot. Despite the lack of highlights, we have clearly been the better team. Going to just tell the players we're happy and keep it simple. Okay, just before the hour mark in this game, I'm going to make some changes. Brennan off, Sheldon on to play at striker. Elsewhere in the team, I'm looking, there's a few players not really performing at their absolute best. We're going to give Ikenna his debut in the team. I signed this guy for very big money last year. £35 million spent, training him to play out on the left. We're going to play him out on the right in this one and see how he fares. I feel like there's a few players here who are going to be playing brand new roles, and maybe I need to reevaluate their standing in the squad based on how they perform within this new system. Tottenham are now switching to a 4-2-4. Lack of centre mids makes me feel like we should look to exploit that area of the pitch. So rather than focus the play in the wider areas, we're going to look to play the ball through the middle. I'll be honest, Banks hasn't exactly had the debut to remember. He's on a 6.8 right now. So far, though, so good for us. Tottenham, one shot on target. They have had a few more shots in total in this game. With them going more attacking, though, I think there should be a few more spaces in behind, perhaps for us to look to exploit. They have, however, got possession here with Petrovic in goal. He lays it to Van de Ven, who gives it to Colwill. Out from the back, they're going to play here. Erdale to Bautista. He goes back to Van de Ven. Nice build-up play here by Tottenham. They're working the ball around nicely. Sarr now running into a wider area with it. Plenty of options in the middle. We've got to be wary of them here. It's floated back post. Nati's under it. Ajaria was there. Couldn't win the header. Ajaria is appealing for something like a crazy madman. I think he wants offside. Is it going to be offside? We wait with bated breath. And it is not going to be offside. It's 1-1 in this game. And maybe this is going to be one of those downsides, the lack of free centre-backs. There's just going to be more opportunities for teams to win the ball in the air at the back post like that. That was a very good header in off the post. Okay, you know what? Gavin Wallace, on you come at inverted wing-back. Kobe Mainoo's really struggled in this game as well. We're going to bring in Joe McHugh there. I've got one last sub. Shawnee Steele, you know what? Come on down. I'm going to do a bit of a shuffle here. I kind of feel like I should be taking off Banks. At the same time, I feel like I have to keep him on. Andy White, we're going to give a rest. I know he's been having a good game, but I need to mix things up. It's also an opportunity for me to play Ikenna on the left-hand side. But like giving players game time in the position you want them to learn is really important to help them pick it up. So hopefully that's going to work out for us here. As well, with 10 minutes left, we're edging closer to a penalty shootout. Of course, this game would go straight to a shootout if needed. There's 4 minutes left. Tottenham, I still feel like have been second best in this game. We've been lacking when it comes to our finishing. There is not going to be a late twist here. We're going to penalties. We still really lack penalty takers in this team. But you know what? Last time we had a shootout at Wembley, we won in the FA Cup semi-finals. So I'm going to believe that we can repeat history here. Sheldon is going to be the man to take the very first penalty of this game. You know what? We should really go to the behind-the-goal camera for this moment. Great finish by Sheldon. Gives us the lead. Cordero is going to step up next for Tottenham. He shoots. He scores 2. It's 1-1 after 2. Okay, Banks, I don't want to put the pressure on him. I've spent big wonga on this guy. I have rebuilt the team around this man. I need him to show up. He's missed the penalty. The game is scripted. We all knew that was going to happen. And now Nati, who already has 1 goal in this game, has a chance to give Tottenham the lead in the shootout. Anson, could you come to the rescue? He went the right way, but he couldn't get down to it. Okay, Ikenna, another one of the new arrivals. Can he find the back of the net? He steps up, he shoots. Oh my, the new signings are awful. Might be, you know what, that might be a premature assessment. If Tottenham score here, we have lost this shootout. There is no coming back. Francia steps up, scores. I mean, we have to score 2 penalties. They have to miss 2. I don't want to say it feels unlikely. It does feel remarkably unlikely. Sean Steele is going to be the man to step up here. I mean, the worst thing here is even if he scores, they still have to kind of, you know, miss 2 in a row, which feels unlikely. Steele steps up. He misses anyway. We really are an English team. Why did I decide to wear an England kit today for a penalty shootout? You know what? In retrospect, that was an error. I don't want to watch the confetti. We've never done well in this Community Shield Cup, have we? I think we won it last year. The year before that, we bottled it. I just don't like it. Banks makes his debut. I'm just sad. Sean Steele has vowed to step up again. I don't know if you will be taking another penalty, son. I mean, look, if there's a game to bottle with a penalty shootout, maybe it's the Community Shield. Maybe that's the better game to do this in. Jonathan Banks made his debut and got a 6.7. Yikes. You know what? Tottenham are a very good team. They finished second in the Premier League. They made it to a Champions League semi-final last year. Our next opposition, we have to be winning against, or I will really start to panic. Fulham are up next. It's our first game from the London Stadium. Don't go anywhere. So we are the last team to play on the opening weekend of the season. Arsenal have won, Chelsea have won, Tottenham have won, Manchester United and Newcastle also winning. Of course, because we're ground sharing with West Ham, there might be some weird scheduling where we're more frequently playing games not on a Saturday. Just something to keep in mind. And while going into this season opening game against Fulham, I'm not going to change things too radically compared to the last game. I have decided to shuffle around the team a little bit. Bernard Brennan, I've dropped down to the bench. I'm going to be playing Sheldon out on the right-hand side and Andy White through the middle. I feel like Andy, with his just physicality, is just a really good player to have at the middle of the play and everything that we do. Yeah, this, I think, might be our best configuration. I feel like I could be saying that for the first 10 games of the season. Frankly, I do not know. What I do know is, though, we really need a win in this game. In retrospect, to be honest, drawing against Tottenham like we did, not actually a terrible result. Obviously, we lost to them in the Champions League, so to just avoid defeat in 90 minutes, maybe that's a positive. But yeah, we need wins. I need to see a few more positive signs. Obviously, 1 goal scored in that opening game. Maybe against Tottenham, I can look beyond that. Against a team like Fulham, who are firmly mid-table, I need to see a bit more in terms of attacking output to justify this shift. Also, we're still on the behind goal camera. Let's make sure that's fixed. I know there's some people who are crazy and play end-to-end camera on EAFC. If you play behind goal on Football Manager all the time, you are crazy. You are weird. We've got a chance here. Barrett back post. Andy White in the middle, heads it just over. We're actually looking at things here. They're playing a very similar system to us, aren't they? And now they've got a chance. Buonanotte, free kick, dinks it. Vitic down. Samuel Smith kicks it. Anson. Well, I want to say it's a good save. It's been blasted straight at him. He still had to catch it, mind you. 30 minutes played here. It's still kind of cagey, isn't it? There's not exactly been a load of action in this game thus far. 10 minutes left of the half. Lads, what are we doing? I'll shout words of encouragement inside. I'm feeling turmoil. 54% of the ball. We've had 9 shots to their 5, but we're not doing anything. And it's half-time and it's 0-0. I mean, at what point do we just change to the old system? Not yet. You know what? Not yet. I'm going to be stubborn. I told the players I'm not happy. They're all motivated. Lads, you've got to step it up in the second half. You're making me look like an idiot. I thought we'd tactically change things, mix things up. It'd be a great idea. Frankly, it has not worked thus far. And now Fulham are on the attack. They're dinking it forward. Bieber is there. Justin. No, obviously, it's not actually Justin Bieber. He's not even got a second B in his name. Flood's got it. Let's move on from that. Hatswell plays it forward to Sheldon. Of course, Hatswell back from injury today, or rather back from his virus or whatever it was he had. Yeah, he's cured. He went home. He's not got the rest of the squad infected. He's back in the team today, although to be fair, maybe he should have stayed in bed. Although Hatswell, maybe you can break things down. Buonanotte. That's a really nice goal. The referee signalled there like it might be offside. The linesman hasn't signalled for it. If I got a goal down, am I just changing things back immediately? The goal's been awarded. You know what? I'm not watching the replay. It was a lovely goal. Do not care. We'll play Barrett on the left, Andy through the middle, Banks can play on the right, and then Sheldon, off you come for Jared Branthwaite. Is this the shortest experiment ever? I'm actually thinking I might make a few more changes here. Barrett off. You know what? Sean Steele on you come. Mick Hugh as well on for Hatswell. Lloyd Weston's on a booking. Gavin Wallace on. And now the game wants to show me the replay. I mean, to be fair, this was a very nice goal by them. Like, this was pretty. They tore us a new one. We were caught all over the place. Jaria playing him onside. I mean, Fulham have the lead. This is disastrous. I will say, when you look at the match momentum, arguably we have just been unlucky there. But at the same time, we have to change something up. We've made those changes. Now, can we have a little bit of a response? Wallace to Steele. Back to Wallace. Back to Steele. Fresh off the bench. Cutting inside. This is his shot wide of the post, though. Banks is on a 6.3. I repeat, Banks is on a 6.3. I don't want to panic anyone. That was a lot of money we've spent for a man who's not done anything yet. But maybe that could change now. Ajaria in the wide area lays it inside 2 Banks. Andy White's in the middle. He could go on his own. He's missed it. He's actually missed it. This is awful. We do technically have a corner here, and you'll notice Banks is now taking corners. Andy White is able to be in the box and be a threat. I know some people have been crying out for that. I've heard your cries. There's 15 minutes left and still nothing is happening here. I mean, we are running out of time, folks. We are running out of time. I don't know what else to tell you. We're going to go a little wider in our play. There's 9 minutes left. I've still got 1 sub left. Andy White's on a 6.3. So is Banks. It's an absolute disaster. Bernard Brennan, last sub, on you come. I need goals. I need heroes. I need a man to step up. Banks, Brennan. He was offside. It wouldn't have counted anyway. It was almost an instant impact from the sub. And there's 3 minutes left. I mean, how are we losing this game? Look at the match stats. How are we losing this game 1-0? One moment of brilliance for them. Could we have a moment of brilliance of our own? Banks is there. Banks has scored. It's 1-1. There's still time for another. I'll tell you what, it's quite sold out, this ground, isn't it? There are empty seats. But as a reminder, our stadium last year held 25,000 fans. It's been expanded to 36,000 fans. This ground holds 60,000. Imagine if we had more than 35,000 in the ground for this game. That's going to be a problem. It's 1-1. Is there time for another? Is there? I'm going to encourage the players. 2 minutes. Is there to be late drama? No. That's a bit disappointing, isn't it, really? I mean, 1-1 is not disastrous. I mean, look at the match stats at the bottom of it. Look at the match momentum. We probably should have won that game. I'll tell the lads they were unlucky. Inside, I'm absolutely fuming. That is not an acceptable result. I'm glad that we've rescued a point, to be frank. Branthwaite makes his return to English football. Good for him. We rescue a late draw. I mean, at least Banks scored. That's good, isn't it? And if you were wondering, the home attendance for that game was 53,000 fans. And we've just expanded our stadium to 35,000. Can we just play at the London Stadium forever? Well, I'll level with you. Start of season number 11, not winning either of the first 2 games. Not exactly ideal. It can only be better next time, I guess. Now, I do think it goes without saying the focus this year is going to be on the Premier League, the FA Cup and the Champions League. And a lot of that is going to come down to kind of the second half of the season. In terms of when we're going to come back during this first half of the season, I'm going to go with the flow and see what the vibe is. I'm looking at November where we play Arsenal and Man City close together. Maybe we come back for that. Of course, we are in the Champions League, but in terms of this competition, generally, we seem to cruise through the group stage rather easily at this point, so that will probably be a little less of a focus, at least to start the year. I'm not willing to give up on the 4-2-3-1 just yet. We'll experiment with it, we'll adjust some things and see if we can get something out of it. Worst case scenario, we'll just go back to the free striker system midway through every single game. Hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be live on YouTube shortly after this video has dropped, and if you're catching this video a little later than when it's first dropped, check out the live tab on the channel page. You can watch the streams back. It's a jolly old good time in Italy, and I hope to see some of you guys there. Besides all of that, have a lovely rest of your Wednesday. We are back tomorrow with more Park to Prem action. And until then, it is me, Jack. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.